Hello, welcome to another episode of Your World. This week was with me, Adrian Aryokusumo. For the next 30 minutes, I'm giving you news highlights of this week from around the world. And now, let's begin with our first segment. As the war in the Gaza rages on, a group of Israeli youth are refusing to enlist, citing their political beliefs. Here are the stories.
As the war in Gaza rages on, a group of Israeli youths are refusing to enlist, citing their political beliefs. These conscientious objectors face the harsh reality of jail time for their defense. At a military recruitment center near Tel Aviv on Wednesday, Sol Behar Salik and Ido Elam, two young men who have chosen to resist the draft, spoke out in defense of their decision to separate in an interview with the media. Salik said that the Israeli military right now is acting in a way that only propels violence and brings them further away from safety for them as Israelis, hostage, soldiers, and Palestinians. In Israel, serving in the military is a central part of life, and those who refuse are often ostracized and even labeled as traitors. Sophia Orr, who refused to serve in February this year, spent 85 days in jail for her beliefs, knows the cost of standing by one's conviction. She stated that the experience is obviously not nice, and it is much better that the way Palestinians get treated in prison, but it's still not nice. She got yelled and threatened for punishment if she kept talking about politics. Assuming the presidency of the Security Council for December, U.S. Ambassador Linda Thomas-Greenfield said the situation in Gaza will be at top of their focus. U.S. Ambassador Linda Thomas-Greenfield told reporters on 2nd of December in New York that the U.S. will continue its relentless diplomacy to bring an end to the conflict in Gaza and bring the remaining hostages home. Asked about Syria, Ambassador Thomas Greenfield said the current situation on the ground is concerning. We are watching that situation very closely, and we will continue to engage with partners in the region to find path into conflict and for the situation to go back to calm. When asked about the International Criminal Court or ICC's decision to issue arrest warrants for Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, and Hamas commander Mohammad Deif, the U.S. ambassador said, "We have worked with the court in the past, but we do believe that this particular case against the Israelis is not justified." Displaced Palestinians in the southern Gaza Strip are living in more difficult and harsh conditions as the area was hit by the most severe rainstorms and strongest winds so far this winter on Monday, which has broken around 10,000 tents and last refuge for many of them. According to the Hamas-run Gaza media office, around 10,000 tents in Al-Mawasi camp were washed away or seriously damaged by sea surges triggered by extreme weather. The area has accommodated around 100,000 displaced people since the last round of Israeli-Palestinian conflict broke out in October 2023, far exceeding its permanent population of 9,000. Many of them have no choice but to set up tents on the beach, some of which are only a few steps away from the sea shoreline. Long lines form outside a bakery in Deir al-Balah amid shortages of flour and fuel as Israel's war in Gaza rages on, the Palestinian news agency Wafa reported on Friday. Hungry people, packed tightly together, held out their coins in the hope of buying a bag of bread to take home to their families. Wafa reported that an elderly woman and two young girls were crushed to death Friday as a crowd surged to get bread from a bakery in the city. The victims reportedly suffocated due to the mass of people pressing together, but Wafa did not specify if the deaths happened at the bakery featured in the video. Earlier this week, the World Food Programme announced that all bakeries in central Gaza had shut down because of lack of supplies. And last month, the World Food Programme said that nearly 2 million people in Gaza will face acute food insecurity or worse in the coming months.
And now let's continue with more stories from Thailand. The Interior Minister of Thailand are seeking emergency budget of about 5 million baht to help flood victims in the southern provinces. This and more on your Youre World.
Pasakorn Bonyalak, Director General of the Public Disaster Prevention and Mitigation Department, said that households which have sustained damage from flooding in all provinces will each receive a maximum of 9,000 baht in compensation. He said that Thailand officials will assess the damage sustained and then determine the amount of compensation that each affected household will receive. In Songkhla province, more than 230,000 households in 16 districts have been affected by flooding. 9 people are reported to have died mainly due to drowning. Malaysia has experienced one of its worst flood disasters in recent years. Severe flooding has impacted multiple regions over the past week, displacing hundreds of thousands of residents. Heavy monsoon rain caused rivers, including the Golok River, to reach their highest level since 1997, resulting in widespread inundation of homes and infrastructure. Over 150,000 evacuees reported across 9 states at its peak. The affected states include Kelantan, Terengganu, Pahang, Perlis, Kedah, Perak, Selangor, Malacca, and Negeri Sembilan. Kelantan and Terengganu are the worst affected states, with Kedah and Pahang began to show an increase in number of people being evacuated to flood relief centers. Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim announced a 50 million ringgit emergency aid package for each Kelantan and Terengganu and announced an additional immediate allocation of 25 million ringgit for each state in the wake of the severe floods that have hit them. He emphasized the importance of improved monsoon preparedness.
Heavy rainfall triggered by Cyclone Fanggal continues to affect Tamil Nadu, with 11 districts including Vellore, Tirupattur, Salem, Dharmapuri, and Gudalur taluks of the Nigiris experiencing widespread disruptions. Schools and colleges remain closed, and several express trains between Fikravandi and Mudia Pakam had been cancelled due to the operational challenges and rising water levels. Meanwhile, farmers are facing significant crop damage as there are serious concerns about yield loss and potential crop discoloration due to the extensive flooding. Local administration continues to monitor the situation closely and is providing necessary aid to the affected areas. Residents are advised to stay alert, follow local administration guidelines, and take necessary precautions during this extreme weather event.
Rice production is facing numerous challenges due to the unpredictable weather changes such as drought, saltwater intrusion, floods, and rising temperatures. To proactively address these challenges and protect against pests and diseases, farmers have taken the initiative to select rice varieties that they are both cost-effective and high-yielding. For the first time, this farmer has planted a 3-line hybrid rice variety. These plants are thriving and healthy. Throughout the growing season, pesticide use has been minimal, leading to substantial cost savings. The crop quality this year surpasses all previous harvests. Vietnam has successfully developed approximately 40 new climate-resilient rice varieties. The devastating impact of Typhoon Yagi on nearly 200,000 hectares of rice underscores the importance of the science in developing new rice varieties. These varieties need better lodging and disease resistance while maintaining high yields and quality. They must also adapt well to a wide range of weather conditions and soil types. The Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development of 2025 plan for improving crop production, particularly rice cultivation, emphasizes quality and sustainable genetic structures as crucial factors. This initiative combines the development of new varieties with environmentally friendly cultivation methods to ensure sustainable and responsible agriculture.
And now let's moving on to South Australia. A brother and sister running an egg farm are providing meaningful jobs to their financial independence to their employees with disabilities. Let's take a look.
Finnis sits Rise and Shine Eggs. It's home to more than 2,000 plucky residents. It's owned and run by brother and sister duo Alistair and Heather Pearce. Despite having no experience in chicken farming, a year ago the pair decided to give it a go.
Well, it's a very steep learning curve. Especially the day the first lot of chooks turned up was like, we kind of knew we weren't ready, but we didn't realise just how not ready we were.
Alistair spent decades on the family farm on the Eyre Peninsula before moving to Adelaide in 2013, while Heather runs a successful medical business in Broken Hill.
Alistair has that practical background in farming, but also in problem solving and trying to work out when, is there another way that we can do things. So, and I guess my experience as a business owner in the medical, allied health and imaging area, we thought if we combined those skills together, we could make it work.
Together, they united to form Rise and Shine. After years spent working as an occupational therapist, Heather saw an opportunity to provide on-farm employment to people with disabilities.
The most common thing I would see on someone's NDIS plan was they wanted a job and they wanted to make friends. And the more that you work with someone, the more you realise there's not a lot of areas where that's set up for people to transition into. So that really got me thinking, well, what is it about a job that is the barrier for people getting in?
So the idea for the egg farm was hatched. Heather says it's about teaching people who've had very limited opportunities important skills in the workplace.
Waking up on time to go to work, how do I check my roster, how do I talk to people at work. And I guess what we thought is if you did a program where you taught those skills, you'd have someone who was employable in the open market when you finished the program.
Employees like 39-year-old Jinder Holland, who spends his shifts collecting, sorting and cleaning eggs before they're ready for delivery.
And I'm pushing the eggs on the fan belt, as you can see.
While not necessarily a fan of chickens, Jinder admits he's warming to them after several months working here.
At the start, I was umming and ahhing. I wasn't comfortable around the chickens. As my shift progressed to more and more shifts, I'm here at the farm. I'm beginning to like the chickens, yeah.
Before egg collecting, Jinder worked in hospitality and at a factory, but says it just wasn't the right fit with his Waardenburg syndrome.
I'm deaf in my left ear. I'll take my hat off. I have grey hair as a young fella, and I have a different colour eye. So that was a challenge for me. When I was growing up, I used to be bullied and that. And I guess coming to here, people treat me differently because I'm different, and they accept me who I am, and I thank them for that. Yeah.
A squad of China's 40th Antarctic expedition has concluded this one-year mission at the Zhongshan station. The 20 members of the squad, including 8 researchers and 12 logistical support members, arrived at the Zhongshan station on November 30, 2023. Built in 1989, the Zhongshan station is China's second permanent research property in Antarctica, located in the Larsemann Hills, East Antarctica. It serves as a key hub for inland expeditions and supports research in meteorological observation, oceanography, and geology, among others. The 41st Antarctic expedition departed from South China's Guangzhou city in the South Continent on November 1st, abroad from the home-developed research icebreakers Shulong and Shulong 2, or Snow Dragon and Snow Dragon 2. The 40th Antarctic expedition, consisting of over 460 people, set sail from Shanghai on November 1st, 2023.
This delegation have travelled all the way from Samoa.
Look how fine it is. Yes. Without a machine. Look. Oh my gosh. I don't know what it's called now, but I think it's more than a yekong.
It's more than yekong.
Museums Victoria currently houses 20,000 items from the Pacific, a vast array of cultural treasures dating back to the 19th and early 20th centuries. There's little information about some of the items, and even less about their provenance, including these ear or Samoan mats acquired by the museum in 1888.
So from previous visits to the collections, we've been told that this one is the ear ta'ele, ear sina, and ear fuipani.
There's always like this differing interpretation or opinion or different stories, right, that we have with these items.
Yeah. And people not accepting stories or not wanting to tell the stories, right? I think all of that plays towards this confusion around what these mats were for and the loss of the mats in Samoa today. I've read about the Iasina being, the virginal mat. It's the mat that Taupo, when she marries her husband, this is the mat, the wedding mat. And so you can understand what that would mean. So that's another use for this mat, as well as being worn. Somebody wearing this, you would see that and automatically know, okay, that's somebody who has an elite status in the Samoan society. Trying to pursue more information about these mats is really important, because then we can also help the database of the museums, right? We can actually contribute to the knowledge through our own identity journeys and through the journeys of the museum's collections as well.
I need to add this to my own collection for the show. Some community leaders, like Gina Tafea, also recognise the need to create heirlooms that reflect the Pacific diaspora living in Australia.
Okay, so the piece is what we would call a tuinga whau. Traditionally, it would always be worn by the High Chief's daughter, and she was known as a taupo, virginal, and the purpose of it was to elevate the family. There's a whole heap of stuff spiritually tied to it, and I'm talking about old gods, where there was a belief that the adorning a tuinga, the person could transcend. These are pheasant feathers from different types of birds, and it's all been sourced in Australia. The shells are also all sourced in Western Australia. For me, it was important to showcase Australia in this.
Jade Hatfield, the curator of the Moana One Solwara collection, is eager to strengthen the connection between these cultural items and the wider Pacific community.
Holy moly. One of the bigger conversations that are happening with museums at the moment is, of course, repatriation.
We're open to it, absolutely. We take requests because it's such a lot of research. It's just time consuming, so it's about patience, but also money. It costs to get taonga home. We welcome Pacifica communities into the collection, both within Australia and also across the world. The museum are kaitiaki or guardians of this collection. We consider, particularly within the First Peoples team that I'm a part of, that these cultural items belong to the communities and we're simply the caretakers. It's about this connection to their culture, to their ancestors, and I think with us living in diaspora, it's a great way to connect back home.
On Friday night, the Hanoi Culinary Culture Festival 2024 opened with the theme Hanoi Connects 5 Continents. A highlight for the festival is Pho So Ha Than, where diners can experience a special bowl of pho prepared and served by the smart robots. This year's festival features more than 80 booths arranged in distinct areas. The event celebrates and promotes Hanoi's traditional culinary culture while building and leveraging the city's cultural and culinary brand through its unique, high-quality cuisines. The festival will last until Sunday. The Hong Kong Observatory used its open day to highlight the extreme weather and climate change, as the public got a rare glimpse inside to see what it does and how it works. Many local residents visited the observatory headquarters in Tsim Sha Tsui for its open day. An earlier one was held back in March. Game booths, video games, and display boards were set up to introduce atmospheric science to the public.
We've never been here before, so it's a good chance to come in and see. A lot of information is good, yeah. Learning is quite scientific and there's lots of games for the kids. They had fun, yeah. They like all the games, I think. It's just like all the toys they got.
The one that talk about tsunami, like the one there, I remember it the most.
Meanwhile, meteorological instruments used by the observatory for weather forecasting are being showcased, including this red balloon, which is used to collect data such as wind direction, wind speed, temperatures in the upper atmosphere. Sunday will also be part of the observatory's latest open day. Tickets with a QR code were emailed to the successful applicants earlier. Members of the public can also visit the observatory's website to play online quiz games.
And that ends today's episode of Your World. I'm Adrian Arikusumo. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.